you're in Indianapolis now, or you're in Indiana.
Right.
How did you meet Babyface?
So he had a band. He was in a band called Manchild.
Yeah.
And they were really good. And they were like stars, man. Everybody in the group was like, looked like they were 6 foot and weighed 150 pounds. They looked like just like everybody in the band looked like Mick Jagger. I mean, it was just rock star. Look at these guys, man.
Right.
And Kenny was in the band. As a guitar player. I didn't meet them when we were in. I didn't meet him when we had the band Essence, my first band. I literally met him after we started the group The Deele, right? Because a quick story was we sort of my band Essence kind of ran out of gas. We became complacent. We didn't renew. We didn't refresh, and eventually we kind of got kicked off the circuit. And this club owner. I got to tell you this. This club owner.
Yeah, tell me.
His name is Walt Manning. He owns a club called the Night Flight. The Night Flight is the hippest club in Indianapolis. On one level, it's a DJ. And on the lower level, live band. And the deal was, if you could get people to come from the disco downstairs, that's how you make your money.
Hell yeah.
So they gave us a small advance, but we would get the door. And it'd be like 1,000 people upstairs, and they play Off the Wall. They were playing Donna Summers. They were playing like disco. It was in full tilt.
Mm-hmm.
And we were downstairs, and like 15 people might come down. And half of them would like be people that we knew. And so we had a couple of weeks off. I went to the club and asked the club owner, Walt, if I could get an advance, if I can get $100 advance for my band so I could like pay the rent, give my guys some food. And he says, there ain't gonna be no advance because you're fired. And let me tell you why you're fired. You're fired because you guys suck. You're drab, you're boring. No one comes downstairs. You need to renew. You need to rip off a sleeve or dye your hair or do something, because all of this socially conscious thing you're doing is completely boring. You're out of step with the times. And I mean, he just read me, man. I was like, whoa.
What year was this?
This would have been 79,
Yikes.
80, something like that.
Oh,
and I'm
right
like,
at 80.
I'm like, whoa.
And y'all was still hanging on to like Got to Give It Up, like songs from like 1976.
Yeah, we're there, and early Earth, Wind and Fire, like the wrong Earth, Wind and Fire songs, you know.
Evil.
Yeah, and this guy just read us, man. And then he goes into the cash register and he pulls $100 bill out and he throws it on the counter. He says, I'm gonna give you the $100 bill, but I never want to see you again. And you don't owe me the 100, but you owe it to somebody. So pay it forward and get the hell out of here. And fired us. He was drunk and he was an alcoholic, right?
Oh, I was going to say, that's the best firing I ever heard. I need to use that shit.
Yeah. He gave. So I got the $100 now, and I go back and I think about what the man is saying, and I immediately knew he was right. I immediately knew that we had somewhere slipped. Mm-hmm. And I was like, okay, so I need to bust this thing up and start all over. And that's how we started the Deele, right? Was my bass player, his name is KO. He's my best friend also. We let everybody else go.
KO.
We said,
yeah,
you know KO.
Yeah,
KO plays on all the records with me and Face and
Yeah.
Whitney and Bobby and all that shit, right? He's really incredible, really, really talented. So he and I started the band. We first let everybody go, say, guys, we're going to end the band and it's just not working. It's run its course. So we went back to our hometown of Cincinnati, and he and I just sat in either his mom's house or my mom's house, and we just kind of thought about, like, who were the most talented kids that we went to school with that also had the presence of a star. Like, we started thinking about it differently. We started thinking about it beyond, like, beyond talent, but that combination of talent and stardom, that's when that really sort of first came into my consciousness. And so we picked a couple of guys that we thought were really good, and we started the band, The Deele. We went back to Indianapolis. well, we sort of getting kicked off the circuit. And I went to the club owner and I said, just give us a week. Give us 1 week in the club and I'll show you. Because they lost confidence in us. In that week, I left something important out. The Deele was a Prince copy band. Right.
A copy band. What
sort of?
Not a cover, but just a copy.
Stylistically, like we wanted to look like them, we wanted to play like them. We did some of their songs, we did some of the time, some of Prince, right? And we were completely like Minneapolis kids all of a sudden.
All right. So can I ask, is, you know, and it's rare for me to ask someone who's actually of the age at the time it's happening, but when he came out, like, was it totally this guy is just of a different ilk than everyone else?
It was so like obvious. It was so obvious. Like, I didn't even know whether this records or hits or not. I didn't really look at charts and all this stuff, right? But it was so obvious that it was him. And I was, and also Bootsy co-signed it. I was looking at Black Beat magazine. I don't know if you guys know that.
Come on, man.
Dude, I
don't know, man. Y'all look like really young to me.
We got good lotion too.
Yeah. Moisturized.
Yes.
But Bootsy said Prince is next. He said it in the magazine, and I was like, damn, I kind of thought so. But when he said it, that was like the validation.
Right.
And there was no turning back. Prince was the king.
I grew up in an environment where he was taboo and you weren't allowed to. Every adult I knew hated Prince.
Right.
So that just made it even more like, all right, well, let me see what they're talking about. But I just never been in an environment in which someone who is an adult or of the age, like, tell the story of them seeing it and being like, yo, I like this.
That's because you come from older musicians too. Because my mother loved fucking Prince as soon as he popped out.
My mom told me don't play that in her house.
Oh,
yeah,
well, your mother was a little
everyone
right.
thought Prince was the devil.
A little older.
Yeah, she was like, don't play them. Because he had a song called Incest is Everything Is Said to Be. And she's like, you will not play that in my house.
Oh,
so wait, time out. All right. So when Dirty Mind comes out, now here's the weird thing. I mean, when For You came out, you know, he was in Right On magazine and all that stuff. And I have a sister who's slightly older than me. So her and her high school girlfriends were bored. And then, you know, when the second album came out with I Want to Be a Lover and all that stuff, they were bored. Now, the thing is, when Dirty Mind came out, especially in Philadelphia, I swear to you, maybe I heard Uptown once on the radio.
Right.
And besides Right On magazine, I would have never known what Dirty Mind was. So it's almost as if Dirty Mind never came out and we went right to the time and controversy. And I didn't even I didn't catch up on Dirty Mind until after Purple Rain. Then it was like, all right, you got to be completist and get everything. But
right.
Philly radio was not playing anything off of Dirty Mind. And I think by then, like, my sister's love of that type, you know, it just sort of waned a little bit.
Right.
So as far as I knew, he just disappeared all of 1980.
Wow.
So you're saying that when Dirty Mind came out in real time,
oh my God, it was,
you guys got it and totally understood and got it?
Everything about it, the way they dressed, everything they talked about, Party Up and Head and all these songs. Like, we were deep into Prince, like deep into it, and just thought he was the greatest thing ever.
Like, in my mind, it was a flop and nobody was with it. And
right.
He quickly
that's crazy.
Recovered.
Like,
so
we didn't, you know, what's crazy is that at that time we were so into Prince that we didn't judge whether something was a success or not, because we were just so blown away by his first of all, that he was playing everything and doing all that was as far as I knew, that was unusual. And he was on this sort of punk thing, right? And that was, he was borrowing from new wave and incorporating it into this sort of funk thing. He was just an original. It felt like an original to me.
Was he?
I was-
So was it done in a way? Because I also know that, Rick kind of had a miss with the Garden Love record, which I mean, I don't know if Big Time really could have saved that record, but he was really Rick James was trying to like really make a statement, like here's my star moment, and really made a pop album.
Right.
And what's weird
Right.
is I can't wait to get Leroy Burgess on the show, because if you listen to the intro of Big Time, you can clearly hear that edit. Like I know the Leroy Burgess part of Big Time versus Rick's portion, which is basically I see Leroy Burgess adding that. It's like an 8-bar piano intro that's clearly not Rick James.
Right.
And then they splice the rest of the song to it. But I don't know. For me, was Rick not, like, in your mind, what was Rick James? Because he too was trying to establish punk
Yes.
funk and all that stuff.
Yeah. Rick was a hit maker, right?
Okay.
Rick had the hits, Mary Jane and You and I, and he had the hits, but he didn't have the stardom to us, right? He was actually a hit maker before Prince was.
Yeah.
Right. But we didn't focus on him. I don't know why. In Cincinnati, Indianapolis, the local bands all played Rick James songs. Everybody. Some people played them better than others, but that was in every local band in their set. But
You didn't look at it as innovative.
As I think back on it, it was. But
right.
At that moment, I didn't think so. I thought it was just another guy making hits. I just didn't. I never focused on it. It was years later that I looked back on it and said, "Wait a minute, this guy's insane." Like,
right.
This guy wrote Square Biz. Like, for Tina Turner. This guy's like insanely talented. Didn't really know it at the time. Just didn't quite catch it because there was something about Prince that just appealed to us more. And you know what I think it was? Like in Cincinnati, I think we heard Black music, but we also listened to rock, right? We listened to a lot of rock music on the radio. Like, and so I think that presence of punk rock and that presence of rock and the presence of funk, that blend, Prince kind of did all of that as one artist. Right. So something about that really appealed to us.
Your audiences, were they receptive to it as well? Because this is also middle America. It's not exactly New York. How are they adapting to?
Because y'all had the eyeliner too, right? I thought Babyface said y'all committed. Like, y'all
we went all the way. I'm telling you, we went all the way.
What was his word? Glam, not glam.
Breed.
Yes!
Breed. Yes. Yeah, we were breed. We were breed, which meant the new breed.
New breed.
We were the new breed, right? We were our generation's version of whatever hip hop might have represented. Like we were, but except you had to be really bold and daring and audacious and brave to pull it off, because you're going to be criticized by everybody on a musician level, on a human level, right? People are going to question your sexuality and everything, right? You were putting a lot at risk here to be a part of the movement. So we went all the way. Eyeliner, the Jerry curl, everything, the makeup. We went crazy with it. But what's crazy is we didn't even audition for our record label. We never met our record label. We literally sent a photograph and a demo of 2 songs, Body Talk, 3 songs, Body Talk, a song called Just My Luck that Face wrote, and a song called I Surrender. We literally sent 3 songs and a photograph, and we got signed.
To Dick Griffey?
To Dick Griffey.
And
Never
this was
met the man.
Your idea? That was your idea?
No.
Whose idea was it to do that?
We gave it to our man. We had a manager. We shared a manager with Midnight Star. His name was Pablo Davis.
Okay.
Oh, okay, yeah.
And he went to Solar to turn in No Parking on the Dance Floor, which was Midnight Star's big album.
Right.
And so we caught a tailwind, because in that meeting he said, okay, I also have this new band out of Cincinnati called the Deele, and he shows them the photo, plays them the demo, and we got a record deal.
You remember what was on the demo?
Body Talk, Just My Luck.
Oh,
Body Talk,
okay,
Just My Luck, and I Surrender.
Okay.
So the Body Talk, that is the demo. Is that the version we know, or
Yes.
did you guys?
The recorded version is a little bit better. It's a little bit better. Like, because you'd appreciate this. The demo was all the Oberheim drum machine,
Right.
and
the Lynn drum.
not that one. No, there was one called the DMX.
DMX, yes.
Right. Okay. And it had looked like an Oberheim keyboard.
We got one.
And so that the demo version was purely that. The recording had like real hi-hats and real crash cymbals. That's the only difference. But it made it sounded better.
Damn. I would like to hear that one day.
You know what I mean? Like, you know how the DMS was, the real hi-hat was like, it's a whole different sound, right? And and it moved differently. You know? Yeah.
So you kind of skipped a part.
Okay.
How did that version of the deal wind up being that version of the deal with all the members that we know?
Yeah, because Babyface said it was some fights.
So yeah, I was trying to get back to how I met Face. So that band is playing the clubs, and unlike my first band, Pure Essence, the Deele is packing them in. People are coming. Like this whole this edge that we had and this androgyny that we seemed to have, and this music was it was a sensation, a little bit, a local sensation. And we went from having 15 people in the room to like 100 people and 110, 115, 120, and we started having lines around. It was incredible. Like we were a local success. If that had been the internet, we would have been trending. Like, we had a little buzz. So one night I met Face, Kenny at the time, and he came to watch our band, and his manager introduced me to him. And all I remember is us looking at each other and saying hi. And then fast forward a few months later, a keyboard player friend of mine called and said, "Hey man, Kenny Edmonds wants to join your band." And I said, "Nah, he's not breed enough."
Wow.
I was like, "Nah, he ain't got the thing, he's like regular, he's normal, no, he didn't have no." And so I literally passed on it. And then Midnight Star, I hired their keyboard player, Bo Watson. I asked him to come in and play a session for us because somebody paid for a session for the Deele to record. And I needed a keyboard player. So I called Bo Watson, who I'd known from the Indianapolis music circuit. And Bo came over and he listened and he played on the record with us. And he went back and told everybody in his band, like, these guys are on to something. So the next day, the manager comes, Reggie Calloway, everybody comes and hears us, and they say, "Well, we love what you guys are doing. We want to sign you. We want to sign you to our company called Midstar Productions." And I was like, "Okay, this sounds good. This is a little bit better than playing at the club. I'm liking this." So I go to the studio one night to visit them. They were recording, and there's this guy. It's dark. He's in the booth. And I can't see the guy, but he's singing this song called "Play Another Slow Jam. This time, make it sweet." And he's singing it. I'm like, who is this boy with this voice? This tender voice, sounded so good. He comes out of the booth. It's Kenny Edmonds, except he has got on a trench coat. He's got the Jerry curl. My man is breed. He's completely breed. And I'm like, this is the dude I just said he couldn't join the band. And I mean, he's suited up. And I'm like, and the most gifted of anybody I've ever met. I'd never met anybody that gifted, right? That could really write a song and make a demo and do all the parts and sing the background, and the lyrics were like really Poetry, I never
Wow.
met anybody like him.